Senator Padilla from my great state of California was physically assaulted and arrested for attending Secretary Noem's press event. The mere fact that he showed up, he was forcibly removed. Is this how you would treat a member of Congress who attends your press event, whether invited or not?
Well, I've been here for 5 hours, sir. I don't know about that.
I'm just asking, would you have me forcibly removed from your press event
I'm not
if I
going to
walked in?
speculate on a hypothetical.
Recognizes Senator from California. Mr.
Got promoted.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chairwoman.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Thank you to the witnesses for being here. Mr. Secretary, I just got word that Senator Padilla from my great state of California was physically assaulted and arrested for attending Secretary Noem's press event. The mere fact that he showed up, he was forcibly removed. Is this how you would treat a member of Congress who attends your press event, whether invited or not?
Well, I've been here for 5 hours, sir. I don't know about that.
I'm just asking, would you have me forcibly removed from your press
I'm
event
not
if I
going to
walked in?
speculate on a hypothetical. I'm sure there's more context.
I'll take that as a yes. Mr. Secretary, does the DOD have any plans to allow the military to follow the orders of President Trump when his order violates the Constitution? Yes or no?
I reject the premise of that question, which is that President Trump is ordering unconstitutional orders.
I'll take that as a yes as well. Mr. Secretary, the deployment of active duty Marines to California is incredibly disruptive to the lives of service members who are being drawn into the president's publicity stunt. And I want to know how you're planning to take care of these troops. So will you commit to sending my office and this committee a detailed plan on how you plan to house and feed the 700 Marines and potentially thousands of Marines?
What's disruptive is when concrete blocks are thrown at the heads of ICE officers. And so we're proud that National Guardsmen and Marines have responded in real time to help defend those federal law enforcement.
So do you have a plan? Do you have a plan to house?
Not only do we have a plan, but it's been a focus of mine. I've held a riot shield before in a riot. I recognize what it means to respond in real time without enough time.
Mr. Secretary, will you get me that plan?
Everything they can as fast as they can, and we have a plan for that.
Mr. Secretary, reclaim my plan. Chairwoman, LA Mayor Bass stated that the area placed under the recent curfew is around 1 square mile. Is that the same area where service members will be deployed?
Service members are in Los Angeles to defend law enforcement, ICE agents, and facilities.
So essentially you're telling me that American people that a 1 square mile block of LA, and for the record, LA County is over 4,700 square miles, warrants the deployment of 700 Marines and the federalization of 4,000 California National Guardsmen. You testified earlier that you will send in the military to protect local law enforcement. Did LAPD Police Chief McDonnell ask you for your help?
I read reports on a regular basis.
Did he ask for your help?
From ICE agents who
I'll take that as a no.
more grateful.
Did LA Sheriff Luna ask for you to send in the military, Mr. Secretary? Did LA Sheriff Luna ask you to send in the military? Yes or no?
I don't work for the LA Sheriff, sir.
Well, you said you sent them in to support the military, but they didn't even ask for your, to support law enforcement, but they didn't even ask for your help. Have you been to Los Angeles in the last 7 days?
My team is from the top down focused on making sure Los Angeles.
I'll also take that as a no. How did you arrive at the decision not to coordinate with local law enforcement and the governor's office on the initial deployment?
It would be great if the governor attempted to actually coordinate instead of grandstand.
All right, so I believe you're secretly deploying troops to an area without coordinating with local officials is somehow not disruptive and to the logistical and operational conditions on the ground. You agree with that?
I would need you to repeat the question, sir.
Does the department plan on coordinating with Governor Newsom's office on local law enforcement going forward, Mr. Secretary?
We've coordinated with local law enforcement quite well, but the governor's been an obstruction to that, of course.
All right, Secretary Hegseth, this political stunt, and by your own admission, is expected to cost the American taxpayer at least $134 million and will disrupt the lives of hundreds and potentially thousands of active duty Marines and 4,000 National Guardsmen. That's $134 million and thousands of personnel diverted away from critical missions in the Indo-Pacific, where China is rapidly expanding from Europe, where NATO needs US support amid growing Russian aggression, and from CENTCOM, where tensions are escalating so critically that your own General Kurilla had to cancel all his testimony in Congress today. Your redirection of combat-ready troops from real-world national security threats to manage a domestic protest is gross mismanagement and a slap in the face of service members whose lives are disrupted throughout this event. As a veteran myself, it's a disgrace, and you should be ashamed. I yield back.
The gentleman's
Madam
time
Chair,
has expired.
Madam Chair, can we add into record, please, that the gentleman from California has just stated that it is okay to have 1 mile of complete criminality in LA so long as it doesn't cover the 40.
That was not my statement.
Madam
And,
Chair, we have,
and that it's
Mr. Mills,
okay.
Mr. Mills has
Gentleman
not
has-
been
gentleman
recognized.
This is absolutely
Neither gentleman,
absurd.
neither
Words
gentleman
in
is
my mouth,
recognized.
Congressman.
have the right
Mr.
to over to the, you have not been
Chair,
recognized
neither
by the
gentleman is
chair.
recognized. The chair now
And the chair
recognizes the
controls the time.
congressman
And I
from
read it.
Louisiana, Mr. Higgins, for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Let's bring it down a notch, shall we?
It began with a question that cut through the noise of political theater, calm, deliberate, and edged with disbelief. Representative Derek Tran, the freshman from California, leaned forward and asked a question that every viewer at home could feel in their chest. Would you treat a member of Congress the same way Senator Padilla was treated at Governor Noem's event? The air in the hearing room tightened. Cameras shifted. The secretary's eyes flickered. And for a moment, the echo of that question hung heavier than any partisan slogan, because beneath it lay something more profound than politics. It was about power, about who gets to stand, to speak, to question, and who gets silenced. When a sitting senator, a representative of the people, is reportedly physically removed for attending a public press event, it is not merely a procedural dispute. It is a warning. It is the sound of the guardrails of democracy grinding under the weight of something dangerous, an arrogance of authority that forgets who it serves. Tran's voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. His restraint carried more indictment than anger ever could. "Would you have me forcibly removed?" he asked again, his tone steady, surgical. The secretary refused to answer, deflecting, retreating into bureaucratic fog. "I'm not going to speculate," he said. And in that moment, the silence between them became the real story. Because speculation wasn't the issue. Accountability was. What followed wasn't just questioning, it was confrontation, not between parties, but between two visions of government, one that answers to the Constitution and another that hides behind uniforms and press releases. Tran demanded clarity. Would the Department of Defense follow unconstitutional orders? Would it deploy Marines into a 1 square mile patch of Los Angeles without local consent? Would it spend $134 million in taxpayer money to enforce optics rather than order? And every time the question was asked, the same dance began. A shrug, a pivot, a practiced line. "We have a plan. We're proud of our response. The governor is obstructing." But the congressman's eyes stayed fixed. His voice grew firmer. "Have you been to Los Angeles in the last 7 days? Did the police chief ask for your help? Did the sheriff?" And with each unanswered question, the illusion of coordination cracked a little more. What stood revealed was not competence, but control. Not protection, but projection. In that hearing, amid the marble walls and soft murmurs, America caught a glimpse of the machinery that too often runs beneath democracy's surface. Orders are given, troops are moved, billions are spent, and the people's representatives, the ones elected to oversee that power, are left demanding the most basic of answers. And then came the turn. Tran, a veteran himself, drew the line back to where it mattered most: the troops, the human beings behind the uniforms. "This is a publicity stunt," he said, "a slap in the face to service members." His words carried the weight of someone who's worn the uniform, who knows what it means to follow lawful orders, and what it means when leadership forgets what lawful really means. He spoke of China expanding, of NATO under pressure, of rising tension in the Middle East, real threats that demanded America's strength and focus. Yet here they were, he said, diverting combat-ready troops to manage a domestic protest. This is mismanagement. It's a disgrace. And in that final line, he did something rare. He used the word that few in Washington dare to use: shame. Because shame, when spoken in public office, is not just accusation, it is invitation. An invitation to remember the moral contract at the core of this republic. That power serves the people, not itself. That the uniform stands for the Constitution, not the politician. That democracy cannot survive if its guardians forget humility. As his words settled over the chamber, the response was predictable. Another member interjected, twisting the record, reframing the question. The chair's gavel struck, the time expired. The moment, like so many in these halls, risked being buried under the next soundbite, the next talking point. But history has a way of remembering what power wants to forget. In this exchange, brief, tense, human, America saw the distance between authority and accountability, between defending the nation and defending a narrative, between leadership and loyalty. And as the lights dim on another hearing, we're left with a simple truth. Democracy does not disappear overnight. It erodes in silence, in evasions, in the small refusals to answer the simplest questions. Derek Tran's voice, quiet yet unyielding, was a reminder that the Republic survives not through deference, but through defiance, through those willing to ask what others are afraid to. Because every time a question like his is met with silence, the nation must decide whether to look away or to look closer, whether to let power excuse itself or to demand that it explain itself. And that choice, the choice to see, to question, to hold the powerful to account, belongs not to the politicians, but to the people. In a time when the truth bends under the pressure of spectacle, when patriotism is performed rather than practiced, and when the Constitution itself becomes a prop in partisan hands, voices like Tran's are not just dissent. They are defense of the idea that this country is still capable of self-correction, if enough of us care to listen. So as the hearing adjourns, and the gavel echoes down the corridors of power, remember what was really at stake in that room. Not just a disagreement over deployment or dollars, but a test of who we are when authority goes unchecked. Power, unchallenged, becomes something else. And democracy, ignored, becomes memory. This has been Congress Chronicle. Stay vigilant, stay informed. And if you believe the truth still matters, subscribe